Hey everyone, and welcome to Geeksvana. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. This is a public service announcement for anyone visiting live event shows in the UK who might be attracted to a shiny booth offering the opportunity to build your own drone, particularly aimed at your kids on this particular instance. It sounds exciting, doesn't it? The drone offered by Extreme Toys, aka Extreme Fliers, aka Vernon Kerswell, is intended to help show your children the fun and ease of building a drone. The problem is, it all appears to be a total scam. Before we go into the main topic of this live, excuse me, let me clear my throat there, one second. On this live event, Build a Drone scam, and how Vernon Kerswell of Extreme Fliers has evolved to now ripping off small children, it is worth spending a minute on the basic history. It helps because that is how the more recent people complaining and those people that have actually been communicating with us directly have actually found Geeksvana, basically. It's actually how they found us. Since 2019, there has been a campaign on Indiegogo promising a tiny, cheap drone that can provide the quality of image normally expected from an Inspire 2 drone. From DJI, obviously. Sounds incredible, doesn't it? The campaign only needed $75,000 to start shipping. They claimed to have a complete drone ready to go. After raising more than $2 million, Vernon Kerswell then spent the remainder of more than 4 years since lying and misleading to backers. The main campaign has been shut in Japan, with that crowdfunding campaign providing refunds as they held the money rather than passing it on to the campaign owner. And the worldwide campaign on Indiegogo has been suspended, with the platform returning the small amount of money that they still held to just a few backers. I think they held something like 5% back for credit card forced refunds, that kind of thing. The project's owner, Vernon Kerswell, has lied non-stop to backers, refusing to provide refunds. The product he is making is now so out of date that drones like the DJI Neo make it look like a dinosaur, frankly. He refuses to admit the project has failed, despite the crowdfunding campaign confirming to Geeksvana directly that he should now be providing refunds to those backers. There's a lot of content and a playlist on the channel, so go take a look. If I start down that rabbit hole, we may not come back for quite a while, shall we say. Instead of doing that right by backers of his campaign, or scampaign as it's now become known, Vernon Kerswell decided to spend his time and money on attending a host of live events across the UK. The topic didn't really matter as long as he could secure a booth. It was marketed as a build-a-drone event, and for a varying fee, people could attend and have their children build a drone they could then take home to enjoy. Sounds good, doesn't it? However, due to Geeksvana coming up high on Google results for people searching the company after they visited it, we have received a host of complaints by email, video comment, and even DMs from a range of people across the UK who feel totally ripped off. Even worse, we're talking about parents having to explain to their young child that the drone they built won't work, but it isn't the child's fault. Fancy that, getting home and having to explain to little Timmy that even though you built the drone, little Timmy, it isn't your fault that it doesn't work. You didn't do badly. It annoys me on so many levels. Let's take a look at some of the messages that we have received recently from these purchasers. Let's bring it up here. So this first one, oh, how I wish I had seen this before going to Makers Central with my 10-year-old lad. We went and put one of these together. It was quite fun. There was no learning about how anything worked other than doing up 8 screws. That's a bit of a builder experience there, isn't it? We weren't allowed to fly the one he made. A youngish chap with glasses did that. He's wondering if that was Vernon. Excited boy tired me after 2 hours queuing up to see Colin Furs. Parted with 40 hard earned, and he had it for his birthday this week. Utter cack. I've emailed them. Doubt I'll get a response. Feel like a bit of a plum, to be honest. Well, you know, you're amongst friends to that particular one. And Johnny 5 Toy. This is one of our comments on one of our videos. Me and my son got conned today with this scam at 2024 NEC show. Paid £40 for the 2.0 plus and got home and it didn't work. My son was devastated. Found your video just after Googling about the drone because when we got back home from Manchester, my son wanted to try it out. After trying to sort it with zero drone knowledge, we just couldn't get it to work or pair. Although this may be my mistake, I found it odd after seeing your video. And yes, I have to agree, I thought it was a recent product. I didn't expect it to be 12 years old. More on that in a couple of moments. And this other one, I thought it was weird to start with. It isn't really a drone building experience, as there isn't much to do. Although the man on the booth would not let, the man on the booth would not even let my son turn the drone on. Instead, he insisted on flying it, which took a while and a few goes for him to even get it going. This isn't about the money to me, but the build experience was almost zero, and I had many tears from my poor son who was so excited to fly it. We cannot get hold of them. Emails are unanswered. So it's a bit crazy, isn't it? So you get these direct ones. Now, when you pull up their current websites, let me just press this button. There we go. And you do indeed get a link across to their storefront, which does show the Microdrone 2.0 Plus listing here. Now, the listing is interesting, to say the least. It's listed at just £40, which actually, in my opinion, is actually a tactic which is often deployed by Vernon, trying to sell goods cheaply, just cheap enough so people do not kick up too much of a fuss when they then feel like they're ripped off. No explanation that the drone is actually a toy drone from 2013. This is the only drone available, not the one promised in 2019 to backers, and not even the 3.0. So this is 2 models old now, bear in mind. It's just a 2013 product that doesn't even compete with a £20 Amazon toy drone. One other interesting point here is that they are using logos to companies that have actually ordered them to remove. I was also surprised, and I'm sure you will be as well, to see, as you see here in the center, it's very small on this desktop version, is the XJet logo. So I reached out to Bruce, of course, a large YouTuber with a renowned name for campaigning, but also a very large review channel too. He said the following. Let me pop this up because this was a last minute edition. There we go. So I emailed Bruce. We know Bruce well. Obviously, he's been on the channel many times. And he says, "Hi, Sean. I don't recall endorsing the product at any time. And given the controversy over supply and such, I certainly don't endorse the product or the company at this point in time. I've only been using that logo on Twitter a few short years. So this is very deceptive on their part." So as Bruce is actually confirming there, he's only just started using this particular logo on X. It was a bit of an in-joke for anybody that follows him on Twitter when they changed it to X, Bruce had a bit of fun with the XJet logo around X, etc., claiming that Elon stole from him first. But it's interesting, isn't it? And also, when you bear in mind that when you click on here, Bruce did follow up with a second email saying he has never said that about this product. So when you click on each of these logos, and I know there are at least 2 of these companies on screen now that have asked Vernon to remove logos from his marketing, it says it's a mature product with a radical feature set. And I don't think any of us at any point ever thought that Bruce would say something like that. So it's an outright lie, basically, right on the homepage of their website here. So let's say you're a buyer, pop the website back up, and you want to contact them. At the bottom of the screen here, we have a contact us button, and that click on that, and it leads us here to a dead page. FAQs actually lead to the Microdrone 3.0 page, as does the tutorial page in terms of looking at things like maintenance and that type of thing. This is a site put together to sell this scammy little drone and is a paper thin in terms of actual content. It's just been scrambled together to have the basics to take your money, basically. Even the payment page is frankly fraudulent. Let me just pop that up here a second. When you actually go through to the checkout, it's showing rights reserved to an entity that actually does not exist at the bottom here, Microdrone. The company, etc., is Extreme Toys Limited, trading as Extreme Fliers. Microdrone as an entity does not exist, so we will be letting the payment platform know about that, certainly. And yeah, it's every single step here is absolutely dodgy. There's no minimum requirements in terms of the legal minimum requirements. It doesn't explain, as you are supposed to with a limited company in the UK, it doesn't explain actually who the company is, who the limited company is, and that type of thing, let alone the consumer guidance in terms of good practice. The main website is all about the Microdrone 4 product, which is this one here. And again, nothing to do with Microdrone 2 or Microdrone 3 even. They've just skipped back a couple. And here you can see their evolution. It's this one here, the 2.0 at the side there, that is the one that they're now trying to sell as obviously it's the 2.0 plus. But he has, of course, managed to put a free shipping for £20 over link across to the store, which, of course, only sells 2.0 products at the moment, very strangely. You would think that's strange for a company that's so successful, wouldn't you, really? So, and again, on that Microdrone 4 website, there's a lot of dead links in terms of being able to contact people and that type of thing. And also, of course, a lot of information on there, which we now know with hindsight has a lot of fake and misleading promises. Now, we do actually have one of the 2.0 drones here, which we managed to get hold of. And this was released with the 2013 manufacture date on there, which I do have a image of here, of the back of the box here, which shows that it's basically many of the purchasers at events have also got this build date on their box. And essentially all they've really done is they've added the plus at the end, and basically, you know, it's a Swizz. This is a tiny little useless piece of kit that you can get for not even the £40 he's paying for it on Amazon. You can find something for £40 a lot better than this, frankly. I'm also interested, as I say, that the box itself actually denotes on there that it's for 14 plus, and they're now targeting this new box, this new drone, at kids at shows, which I think is interesting in itself. It's also interesting that the product they sell is the only one that they have selling available to people. The fact that, as I say, they've had a couple of models since then, you would have to say that in my opinion, you really should avoid this at all costs. It is barely even a drone, and the simple mass-produced parts are just archaic. This is just, it's no real surprise that it's going wrong. Now, I have previously on a live show gained reaction from Vernon where we actually discussed the fact that this is the same drone. And he very proudly sent this photograph via somebody else to show just how different the two drones are, the old 2.0 and the 2.0 plus. And really, the only question here is that it's there really isn't much of a difference there, is there? Frankly, it's incredible. It is the same parts. Perhaps they've changed a few bits here and there from the point of view of just not being available since 2013 anyway. So this video is a warning to try and help people who are attending shows in the UK, whether that's in 2024 or you're watching this in the future and you're seeing this company. The drone you're paying for is outdated and seemingly unlikely to work at all. This annoys me mostly because parents are having to explain to their upset kids, and how dare Vernon taint a child's first experience and impression of drones with this terrible scam product. He's hiding it within a drone build experience deliberately because, frankly, he knows that the product wouldn't sell if it was out there released separately. Rather than the Extreme Toys Limited business fully fulfilling contract terms and refunding what they have left of the millions scammed out of backers for Microdrone 4, Vernon is doubling down and spending that money on attending events to raise what must be a tiny amount of income in the end, in the grand scheme of things. These really are the steps, in my opinion, of a desperate man. Now, we do have some content coming up on the main Microdrone 4.0 campaign story as well. I did say I wouldn't be going anywhere until this thing was done, and all these years later we are sticking on the story, and we do have some fascinating information which we've been provided, but I wanted to put out this public service announcement ASAP because the messages and emails have started again, so people are actually getting this scam product sold to them. So let's pop across to the live chat and have a look here at what people are saying. You'll notice we have a lovely Vernon free evening, and that's because unfortunately he was starting to reply to people who had issues on previous videos, and we did actually, and in the end, actually have to block the account because he was being quite offensive to people for raising very, very highly valid problems. And again, I wanted this video to be one that is focused on this message and not about him. We all know how silly he can get in the chat and that type of thing. So let's just see what people are saying here. Yeah, indeed, Tony, it confuses me as well a little bit. The more time passes, the more chance of a lawsuit for deliberately misleading, which is a serious UK crime. Yeah, it's interesting because he's still putting out updates claiming the Microdrone 4 is happening. He's claiming that this is a usable product. It would be very interesting. We are following up with a lot of these live event organizers to give them the feedback that people have had, in hope that we can stop this company attending in future, but also to get their direct feedback as well. So I will let you know if we hear anything. But absolutely, I do think it is something that should evolve at some point if he continues. When does it actually become an act of fraud? John Burns, hooray! My favourite intro music. Thank you, John. I do that by showing my daughter drone parts being 3D printed because I designed them. Yep, excellent, Rob. It's good to hear. Lindsay Hayes, did I hear that name correctly? Vernon Kerswell. No, Kerswell is the actual surname, Kers. Okay. There's somebody else thinking he was already here. I don't think he is actually, which is wonderful. Yes, someone is correcting that, which is good. Mumble Don, good to see you, Don. I've been looking for a quick way to get some cash. Turns out I need to get rid of my morality to make quick cash. Yeah, and it's even little things like using XJet's logo, which I think is actually, personally, I think that's trolling the drone community, because we all know that someone like Bruce would not back a product like this because it doesn't work. And, there's no way that this little thing would survive much more than a simple, toy play. I mean, most of this thing here, this pack that's here, is battery. There's nothing to it, which again isn't an issue. If it's simple and it flies and it works, then great. But there's no way. We know someone like the amazing XJet wouldn't back this. Now we do have. It's not actually in here, unfortunately. Look at this wonderful radio. Absolutely crazy. Look at that for an up-to-date radio that's being sold in 2024. Absolutely superb. But again, if it worked, I wouldn't have a problem. I also wouldn't really have a problem if this was being sold to the 14 plus marketplace. And perhaps, this drone is actually available for 60 something pounds on Amazon. And perhaps as just like a general drone, it won't sell much and that type of thing. It'll fail by itself. It doesn't need YouTubers to scream about it. But the fact that this is being pushed out as a drone build experience. So parents are having to explain to their children that it's not their fault. They didn't make a bad drone, a shock to their confidence, and deal with that upset. But also the fact that this could be a child's first experience of drones. And I think, do you know what? I'm done with that. I'm not interested. I want them to go out and build. I want them to be happy. I want them to be able to use these things, basically. So let's see what anybody else is saying here. Are they trying to ship the 2.0? Want it guaranteed shipping 2019 for the 4.0? Exactly, it was, which is absolutely crazy. And Clive Clark Watson, good to see you, Clive. Blue Peter could do better with an old toilet roll tube and sticky back plastic. It does have that feeling to it, I have to say. Again, I caveat because I know some small toy drones like this do actually work and do actually do the job. But, and Elsmeke saying that the Neo must have killed the idea of the MD4 now. It's crazy, isn't it? It's almost identical pricing as well. And now you can get something like the Neo, which has its issues, but, still. Yes, Tony Norris, Sean, can't you publish this scam through your contacts at UK Press and finally expose him for the fraud? It's something that I am definitely still working on. It is something that you have to be honest, Tony, you have to wait for the right moment. And in terms of gaining larger feedback and larger involvement from what I would call mainstream press and the wider press, etc., it's two things are important. Firstly, to have choose the point that has the maximum public interest. But secondly, to ensure that you take it when you know it's going to work. So from the point of view that we don't want to shoot our shot too early, as it were, and it not have an impact story-wise, but not have any impact action-wise. And obviously what we want to see is some action over Extreme Fliers and Microdrone, frankly. Yes, indeed, Daz J, I think that this could be something that Trading Standards should definitely be looking into, and it is a complaint that we are making. Yeah, exactly, Marek. Thank you. Yeah, in shops like Lidl, etc., you can buy low-quality drones for kids that at least work. Exactly, and it's so bad from the point of view Have you got a link? Where can I buy it? Microdrone.co.uk, UK bubblers. It's one of those things where as I say, I get so frustrated by some of the things that this guy has done in terms of, I have to try and stay calm, in terms of ripping people off, but in terms of how he's actually acted in this case, little kids enjoying a show out with their parents, out with their dad, going to see Colin Firth and all these exciting things, and then they end up getting ripped off. And it's a core memory, isn't it? It's a memory you're going to remember. That little drone, you were so excited, you built it in the show, you took it home. One kid was given it for his birthday. You're looking forward to it, and it doesn't fly. And I'm not a parent, but I couldn't imagine not being able to solve that problem for my kid, who I've actually just given that drone to as their present, because they built it. It should be a proud moment, basically. But there we go. But yes, people are not acting, are not responding, let's say, particularly favourably towards Mr. Kerswell in the chat. So there we go. That's the update for today. Do join us again on Geeksvana Live. We've got an incredible story coming up tomorrow over from the USA. On the whole DJI drone ban thing. You're not going to believe the story that we have on that one. And we've also got Graham is coming later in the week to talk about the CAA and drone deliveries in central London. We've got a real mixed bag of content. There's even a launch coming this week, I hear from somebody. But there we go. So if you are new here, please do hit that sub button. It does help us. And if my regulars could hit the like button and do the YouTuber bit at the end for once. And I'll see you next time on Geeksvana Live. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Sorry, I have to come back. Yes, Paul, you're quite right. You're quite right. He Sean out. There you go, Paul, just for you.